Welcome back to Fantasy Football in 5. This video will be a Week 1 strategy. Last video, I think, was our personal team. So if you haven't seen that,
hit the big red button below. Alright, so Week 1 is just one day away. We are super excited for it. Broncos and Panthers in a Super Bowl 50 rematch. But obviously this will have huge fantasy implications because you're going to start your lineups. You're ready for the season. So we're going to start with some quarterback stardom sims.
Alright, starting out, we have a couple of stardoms. We have Matt Stafford to begin, then Derek Carr, then Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I really like Matt Stafford's matchup against Indianapolis this week.
Especially with Vontae Davis injured.
Oh yeah, definitely. They did bring in another corner though, but not as high profile as Davis. Really like Stafford this week. And for our sit-ems, Ryan Tannehill and Jimmy Garoppolo.
I want to highlight Jimmy Garoppolo a little bit because I think he'll perform, but I don't think that he'll be able to dissect that Cardinals defense. And so expect him to not put up very good fantasy numbers.
Right, and really the only reason you'd have Garoppolo is if you wanted him as Brady's replacement for those first 4 weeks.
Alright, so starting out here, we're going to talk about a couple stardom sit-ems once again for the running back position.
Alright, so we begin with Devonta Freeman, LaShawn McCoy, and Latavius Murray.
Now, I wanted to highlight LaShawn McCoy because he actually mentioned it to me how Baltimore's defense is pretty much garbage along the defensive line.
They really didn't improve over the offseason.
And actually, I think they got a little bit worse if you look at it.
Well, they picked up Eric Weddle, which is very nice for the secondary.
That's good for the secondary, but really when it comes to the run game, it doesn't help them a whole lot.
Right.
So I expect LaShawn McCoy to put up good numbers. And then a couple of sit-ems. We have C.J. Anderson and Matt Jones and possibly Frank Gore. We think Frank Gore could have either a really great game or a really terrible game, and he's right on that cusp. And then there's C.J. Anderson, who's just garbage.
We're so used to saying bust for Anderson and Jones, we wanted to say it now, but the sit-ems for now. Alright, so for our wide receiver stardom sit-ems, to start, we're going to go with Jeremy Maclin, Michael Crabtree, and Marvin Jones.
Now, I really like Jeremy Maclin as they play the San Diego Chargers, and I expect he's obviously the #1 target out there, and the Chargers have really good linebackers, so expect them to cover Travis Kelce decently. So I expect Jeremy Maclin to get more targets than Kelce.
Right. For our busts, we have quite a few. Demaryius Thomas is on the fence. Not for a bust. First, sit-em guy. We're not sure how Trevor Siemian is going to play. Jordan Matthews for the Eagles is a sit-em. So is Devontae Parker, Willie Snead for the Saints, and Devin Funchess.
Now, I'm not huge on Devontae Parker. We've talked about him all season. We haven't seen anything from him, and we still don't think he's going to perform well, especially with Ryan Tannehill throwing him the football.
And they play Seattle Week 1. So.
All right, starting out here, we wanted to do tight ends now. For stardoms, we have Coby Fleener and Gary Barnidge.
When Coby Fleener plays the Oakland Raiders, you might think, oh, why? That'd be a tough matchup. But Drew Brees is your quarterback. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that says it all right there. And then for sit-ems, we have Greg Olsen here. Now, that might be a little bit surprising for some people, but if you look at what they did against the Broncos defense last year in the Super Bowl, they didn't perform very well, and Greg Olsen was not able to really separate himself from those linebackers. So expect them to be able to cover Greg Olsen better than most teams.
Right, but the Broncos did lose a lot of guys for the linebackers. They lost to Intravision, but still have Von Miller, who will most likely take Olsen in those one-on-one situations. Okay, so for the defenses, for stardoms, we like the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the Vikings this week.
Now, obviously, those were the top 3 defenses in our defensive rankings, so we expect them to perform well, and especially this week because they don't have any great teams that they're going against.
And for the sit-ems, we have Washington against Pittsburgh and Green Bay against Jacksonville.
Now, we've talked a lot of this season about Jacksonville's offense and how we like them. And since going on that topic, we expect them to perform well against the Packers defense, who is not great to begin with.
Right. And for the kickers, because they're people too, and we have to start them, our starters will be like Justin Tucker, Adam Vinatieri, and Cairo Santos.
And Justin Tucker, if you haven't heard, he can kick 84-yard field goals.
84, that's almost as old as Adam Vinatieri.
Anyways, so we like Justin Tucker mainly because we don't expect that Ravens offense to be able to penetrate the end zone because we expect them to just stall out later.
And for the Sidhams,
the Stidhams, we have Stephen Hauschka and Roberto Aguayo. Now, we talked about how we like Roberto Aguayo this offseason, but we saw him struggle in the preseason, so expect him to, until we see something really improve, do not start him. He's going to be on the sit list. Okay, we had one little news segment that we wanted to put in here. If you haven't heard, Teddy Bridgewater went down a few weeks ago with an ACL tear, and that is terrible for the Vikings as a Vikings fan. But they did go out and get Sam Bradford, which is a great move, and expect that to affect fantasy by the fact that Adrian Peterson will get the ball more, and the receivers may not have quite the numbers that people expected.
Alright, that was Fantasy Football Live. Thank you for watching. We deliver all our fantasy news in 5 minutes, because honestly, who would want to watch a 30-minute video on this topic?
Amen.
So this was our Week 1 strategy video for fantasy football. Next week will obviously be Week 2. Good luck in your leagues as we are projected to lose by like 7 or something, but those projections, we're going to win. See you next week.